Mr Simon Hart.
Number one, Mr Speaker.
Secretary of State for Environment,
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. The Government's recently launched its Resources and Waste Strategy, which outlines a new approach to addressing food waste. Actions include consulting on introducing regulations to make transparent reporting mandatory for businesses of an appropriate size, and we've appointed Mr Ben Elliott as the Food Surplus and Waste Champion to support our strategy.
Simon Hart.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Secretary of State will be aware of the sort of confusion and waste caused by disingenuous labelling around used by and best before, including in one example on a packet of salt. What progress is the government making in sorting out this nonsense?
Well, my honourable friend is absolutely right to point out that there can be confusion as a result of labelling, and there's been leadership from the very top of this government in pointing out that when it comes to salt or jam, it's perfectly possible to consume healthy food in a way which means that some of the nannying regulations and pointless bureaucracy of the past should in no way inhibit consumption of healthy and nutritious food and eliminate waste.
Derek Twigg.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I ask the Secretary of State what discussions he or his department's officials have had with local authorities, for instance, about how they can help in terms of this strategy?
We've had extensive discussions with the Local Government Association and indeed with the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. We want to move towards mandatory food waste collecting across all local authorities, and we intend to make sure that resources are available in order to help local authorities to do just that.
Richard Benyon.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Anaerobic digestion of food waste used to be prohibitively expensive for local authorities, but now there's been a massive drop in the cost, so that savings for local authorities and businesses are available if they opt for this kind of food waste disposal. What measures can the government take to promote this as a really good green method of reducing food waste?
Well, my right honourable friend is absolutely right. Anaerobic digestion can play a very important part in dealing with food waste and making sure that we have a truly circular economy. And we want to work both with local authorities and, of course, with individual farmers and land managers to make sure that, where appropriate, anaerobic digestion can be expanded.
Deirdre Brock.
Mr Speaker, he will accept that food produced here, which can't go to market in the EU and can't be sold here profitably, will increase food waste. Will he therefore reverse the change in the guidance on PGIs he issued last week and provide Scotland's high-quality food and drink exporting industry with all of the support it needs to maintain protections across the EU, rather than leaving producers to do it themselves all over again?
Here, here.
Well, it is the case that all the geographical indicators that Scotland's outstanding food producers and other food producers enjoy will be protected in the future. The real danger to Scotland's food producers is a Scottish Government that is not prepared, I'm afraid, to use the Agriculture Bill currently before the House in order to provide our outstanding food producers with the legislative framework that they need. And I'm afraid in that respect the Scottish Government is being negligent, and not for the first time.
Sandy Martin.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Labour administration in Wales has instituted household food waste collections across the nation. The anaerobic digestion industry in Wales is flourishing because they have a guaranteed regular feedstock, and the amount of food actually wasted in the first place in households in Wales has reduced because people are thinking about what they do with their food. Meanwhile, in England, we get yet another consultation to add to the impressive mountain of strategies and consultations produced by the department. Can the Secretary of State tell this House whether the current consultation will actually lead to comprehensive doorstep food waste collections in England, whether his department will seek the funding needed to enable local authorities to do the collections, and why it would take England 4 more years to do something which is already being done in Wales?
Yes, yes, and I yield to no one in my admiration for Wales.
Mr Philip Oliver.
A lot of food is destroyed before it even lands on the supermarket shelves. Carrots aren't straight enough, tomatoes aren't round enough. So what is the Secretary of State doing to promote wonky veg, which is just as beautiful and nutritious on the inside, even if it isn't visually appealing?
Well, since my honourable friend and I were at college together, both of us have been champions of wonky veg and indeed other unconventional foodstuffs, and he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. When it comes to food, the search for symmetry and for perfection is a vain and, if you'll excuse the pun, fruitless one. The true joy of food comes in appreciating the diversity of British food producers and the way in which wonky veg, or even sometimes unconventional cuts of meat, can actually be a source of great nutrition. And in that respect, Mr. Speaker, may I say that even though it is awful, sometimes it's a good thing to indulge in.